Okay, so we want to create an action to do a dodge and burn on an image, and if this is something that you do regularly, then you need to create an action for it. To do that, we're going to come over to our actions panel over here at the right hand side, and if you don't see your actions panel, if you come up to the window and come down and make sure that actions is ticked, and you will find it somewhere sitting on the right hand side in one of these headings here. So the first thing we want to do is to choose where the action is going to go. So you can create a folder down here and name the folder anything you like. So I have a folder here called Mary's Actions. I created that folder by clicking on this little folder icon at the bottom of the panel and naming it Mary's Actions. I'm just going to hit cancel on that, and we're going to create a new action and put it within this folder up here. So to start with a new action, we hit on the little plus icon at the bottom of the actions panel, and we're going to call this dodge and burn. And we can select from the drop down box where it's going to go, and it's going into the Mary's Action folder, which is this drop down box reflects this set of folders over here. And we're going to have function key. We don't want to have it as a function key. You can set it as a function key, and you can set it as colour. And I'm going to hit record. Everything I do now from now on is going to be recorded in this action. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come down and click on the create a new adjustment layer icon and select curves, and we're going to click on the center of the curve and drag it down. This is going to be our burn layer, so we'll double click on the layer name and name it burn, and we will click on the mask icon and hit Ctrl and I to invert it to hide that effect. So we then come down and click on another adjustment layer, curves again, and this time this is going to be the dodge layer. So we're going to raise the brightness up here, and again we'll double click here and we'll call this dodge, and we'll click on the mask and hit Ctrl and I to hide the effect. So what we want to do now is put these two layers by hitting the shift and clicking on both of them. We right click and we'll go group from layers, and we can name this dodge and burn and hit OK. So now we have created our layers here, and there they are, and now we want to do is hit stop. You can see that red button, that red record button, which I forgot to mention to you, comes on when you're busy recording the action, and it turns off when you stop. So if you look now inside of my actions folder, I have a dodge and burn, and this is all the transactions that took place during that dodge and burn. So if I close this folder panel here and I just take that dodge and burn layer and drop it down into the bin, instead of having to go through all of that process now, all I have to do is come up to Mary's Actions panel, click on the little down arrow and select dodge and burn, and hit the little triangle which is the play button, and hey presto, within second there is our dodge and burn. So all I have to do now is come on to the burn mask, and I need to paint with a white brush. So I need default colours over at the left hand side, so D on the keyboard for default colours, and I need to select the brush tool and come up, and I want a nice soft edged brush, and I'm just going to, this is the burn, so anywhere in the area in the image that I want darkened, so I want to add a little bit more contrast. So I want to make the areas which are already dark a little bit dark. Now I'm painting with 100% there, and that's a little bit too much, so I'm going to undo some of that and I'm going to come up and I'm just going to take my flow down to 20%. Now if I was doing a portrait and I was doing bags under the eyes and dodge and burn in the face, you'd probably want your flow set at about 4%, 5%, sometimes a little bit lower. But for an image like this, we'll work at 20% so you can see the difference. So I'm just going to go over the darker areas in the image that I want darkened down a little bit, just to add a little bit more contrast in the image. So I won't go too mad here. So if I look on the mask, you can see all the little white dots. If I hit the Alt and click on the mask, you can see where I've painted in. Hit the Alt key again and click back on the mask to return the image. Now I'll come up onto the dodge area and I want to make the bright bits a little brighter, just to add a little bit more contrast and interest in the image. And obviously if I'm painting with the 20% flow, the more I paint, the brighter it will get, but it will only get as bright as the curve. So if I wanted to adjust the curve and make the curve brighter, I can just come back over here and on the dodge layer, just double click on the little curve icon and I can adjust the curve and make the curve brighter. So each image can be dealt with in an individual way. And if I now just close that and I come over and I turn on and off my dodge layer, you can see I've just relit the image. It just gives it a little bit more interest. Obviously you would take a little bit more care while you're doing it, but there you go. That is how to quickly apply dodge and burn. Thank you.